If you have just joined us, a very good morning to you. My name is Xan, and this is your Green Breakfast, Planet Earth's only environmentally friendly breakfast show, unless, of course, someone tells us otherwise. Now, one of the biggest conundrum for environmentalists is whether or not to have a wood-burning stove. It is comforting, it's warm, it feels like you're living a simpler life. It is so cozy. But are you warming your house but harming your health? Is wood smoke causing issues inside and outside your home, polluting your neighbours and your local environment? Here to tell us about the pros and cons of having a wood-burning stove is Bea Udale-Smith from the Environment Centre. Bea, a very good morning to you. How are you?
I'm very well, thanks, Anne. Thanks so much for having me on.
That's a pleasure. Thank you for being here and joining us on the line. Um, The Environment Centre is based in Southampton, doing a lot of fantastic work, especially on air quality. I've got a funny feeling that you're going to suggest that a wood-burning stove is not as cozy and as lovely as I'm making out.
I might be, Zan, I'm sorry. You are completely right. They feel cozy and comforting, and a lot of people view them as, or they have been viewed as an environmentally friendly alternative to using a gas boiler or another type of heating system. Um, because wood is renewable, you can plant more trees. But the issue there is with the delay it takes for trees to regrow enough to recapture the released CO2. So we might set ourselves up a lovely fire this evening on this very brisk autumnal day, and we'll burn that wood in a matter of minutes. And in order to recapture the released carbon dioxide, it could take decades or even a century, up to a century, for the trees to regrow enough to recapture the released CO2. So there's that sort of time delay there in terms of the um, yeah, potential environmental renewable nature.
Now, I'm a child of a distant past, but I used to really enjoy the smell of leaf smoke, the smell of petrol, the smell of tarmac, all of these lovely things. I said, oh, these absolutely fascinating smells. I really loved them. Now looking back, knowing what I know, thanks to the Environment Centre, pretty bad for my health, and probably might explain why I ended up with asthma. Um, but a wood burning stove itself, is that good for the home as far as fumes are concerned?
It's a really good question. So the issue here is something we call particulate matter, which is basically tiny bits of soot and dust which are contained within wood smoke, but these particles are so small that they're invisible to the human eye. But when we breathe in air with particulate matter in it, um, the particles can be absorbed through our lungs and enter our bloodstream. Um, and from there impact nearly every organ in the body. So that the potential health impacts range from asthma, as you mentioned, COPD, heart disease, stroke, cancer. It can even affect our brains. So there's a strong association that's been identified in the last 10 years between exposure to particulate matter and dementia, as well as mental health conditions like depression and anxiety in particular. Um, Equally shocking, perhaps, it has an effect on pregnancy as well. So it's been linked to pregnancy loss, low birth weight. Um, Particulate matter has been found in placenta. So when I say it can impact all the organs in the body, I really do mean it. Um, and one of the largest sources of particulate matter in the UK, in particular, a type called PM 2.5, is domestic burning, so lighting fires in our home. Um, any type of burning releases these particles. But yeah, I know exactly what you mean. Wood smoke to me always meant a lovely, cozy fire and usually time with family. relaxation. So it's hard to kind of wrap your head around the fact that actually it's not as charming as we always thought it was.
But also, you might have a stove. I mean, I haven't seen one of these for a very long time, but it'll have a door on it. It'll seem protected. It's got a chimney, a flue that goes out of the house. Therefore, you're sitting there thinking you're protected, you're safe. It's just the heat that's coming in. But I got a funny feeling though that if you're saying it's potentially bad for internally in the house, then that flue, everything that's going out, if you've got a neighbourhood that's got 3 or 4 people with wood burning stoves, is that going to be a noticeable effect on those who don't have wood burning stoves?
You're totally right. We completed some local air quality monitoring over the last 5 years, using sensors in different parts of Hampshire, and they showed a really clear correlation in peaks in particulate matter on winter evenings, particularly on weekend evenings. So helping us distinguish that it's not related to, the 5 to 6 p.m. weekday rush hour. These peaks would often coincide with around 8, 9 p.m. when most people might be having a fire. And what was really interesting as well is that the monitors showed a really close similarity, whether they were located within a really urban area or a more rural area, suggesting, so the researchers who looked at the data based at the University of Southampton drew the conclusion that what we put into the air locally actually impacts our whole neighbourhood, if not contributes to an even wider regional picture. But you also hit the nail on the head that there are, different types of stoves. So a really modern eco-design stove or a DEFRA approved appliance produces less particulate matter within the home. So that might be a way to sort of protect yourself and your family. But that being said, those more modern appliances have been shown by some studies to still produce particulate matter outside the home.
So, is there I can't think of one myself, but maybe you know one, have one up your sleeve, an alternative heating source that gives that kind of warmth and comfort that we get from the fire burning stove, or are we just going to have to put the telly on with a log fire on the screen and just a couple of jumpers and turn the heating up to get that kind of feeling again?
Well, the other projects that we do at the Environment Centre are all about energy efficiency. So I wouldn't want to recommend one that isn't energy efficient as well. Um, and yeah, but the sort of the cheapest, most environmental alternative is currently an air source heat pump or another type of heat pump. Um, Recent modelling done in 2023 showed that uh, warming your home with a wood burner is more expensive than either using an air source heat pump or using a gas boiler. And that's as a result of the rising cost of wood fuel in the last few years. And the increased efficiency in air source heat pumps. So with a heat pump, you'd get a steady warm heat throughout the day. I've heard people describe it as a really comfortable way to heat your home, but you're not going to get the same, sitting by the fire, warming your damp socks experience, I'm afraid.
Wow, that is going to be. I mean, that's. I can imagine someone who's listening to this with their wood fire burner already installed and thinking that they're going to be going, nah, maybe it's like a special treat occasionally or whatever. But it's that conversation that you have to have with yourself and the family about this. So are you seeing overall, let's end this and try to end on a positive note. Is the air quality in Southampton getting better in general from what you've noticed? Or are we seeing no improvements at all, or is it getting worse?
The air quality in Southampton is improving. And there's a variety of reasons for that. Improvement in all the technology that we use that might produce pollutants, as well as very hard work by people, particularly at the council, to bring in more infrastructural changes. And yeah, just to echo what you said, we're not trying to tell anyone what to do, just raise awareness of the potential health impacts. And there's lots that can be done to reduce emissions, especially if someone's reliant on a wood burner. There's lots they can do at home to reduce fewer emissions when they burn.
Fantastic. Bea, that's been wonderful advice, and thank you so much for giving up your morning to bring it to us. So that was Bea Udale-Smith from the Environment Centre here in Southampton. Bea, thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks so much for having me.